Hey everybody, I'm Shane Ireland, and welcome to another episode of Tasting Notes. As per usual, I'm here to discuss something really special today. A man who needs no introduction in the world of tobacco, Mr. Gregory Pease of Pease Tobaccos, is celebrating his Silver Jubilee, 25 years. Congratulations, Greg. And apropos of that Silver Jubilee, I am smoking Pease Silver Jubilee. You might wonder, what could someone like Greg, who has created so many of the most popular and most loved pipe tobacco blends in the last 25 years, how would he choose to celebrate his Silver Jubilee? How would he choose to really go above and beyond and create something exceptional and worthy of such an occasion? Well, I'm here to tell you. So before I get into all of that, I will say that this is very special, a very special blend. Again, I feel like I lucked out because on paper, this is like maybe perfectly tailored to my taste personally. Let's talk about the components. I'll talk about the cut and the tin note and what I'm tasting and all that good stuff. The brand new and limited Silver Jubilee by Greg Pease is comprised of a handful of really interesting components. First, 2019 Red Virginia TBFO19 grade. Italian dark fired leaf, which is particularly interesting because that would mean it would be a little bit less dark fired, a little bit less cured, a little more floral and earthy, and a little less smoky and pungent. Really delicate, really beautiful. Another grade of Red Virginias from 2019, this is the Georgia leaf, the GAJRL 19. A really nice flake. Beautiful, it's uniform in color, it's on the lighter side, and I think that sort of speaks to the refinement and the delicacy of this blend overall. The tin note is really nice, malty, bready, slightly sweet. There's some depth and some richness, but really this is your sort of elegant and refined Red Virginia. I would say a little bit of earthiness and spice and maybe almost an incense-like quality. One might even sort of get the vibe of Perique, but it's really that Italian dark-fired leaf that's adding the complexity here as a continental leaf, tying all those lovely grades of Red Virginia together, and adding some really interesting mild spices and floral notes. I really think, just like most of the Cornell and Deal produced flakes, this one's pretty perfect right out of the tin. Moisture content's right where I want it to be, and a blend that is this nuanced and this elegant and this refined, I definitely don't want to lose any of that complexity, so I chose not to give this one any drying time whenever I smoked it. And again, because of the composition and the production of this tobacco, takes to a flame with no problem. It's really friendly in a variety of bowl sizes. Yeah, it takes to the flame super well. A huge burst of flavor right off the bat. I was actually surprised how much I felt the presence of that Italian dark-fired leaf immediately. It's clearly not front and center, but a little bit goes a long way with dark-fired, even with a more mild curing process that's typical of Italian dark-fired. This is really floral and a little bit nutty and earthy. There's a nice base of malty, tangy sort of Red Virginia flavors. And of course the maturity from the 25-year-old Red Virginia grades is evident immediately. Maybe it's because I'm a Virginia smoker normally, and I say this a lot when I am having a pleasant experience with a Virginia tobacco, but this is the embodiment of sort of comforting to me in a bowl. It is, like I said, relatively mature tasting because of that grade of 25-year-old Red Virginias. The balance of the maltiness, the sweetness, the bready notes, just a little bit of intrigue coming from that Italian dark-fired leaf, the floral qualities. It's rich and it's deep, but it's refined, it's elegant. There's an interplay of gentle spice and floral notes and the sort of more sweet and tangy, almost sourdough bread-like notes from the Virginias. I'm a big Toscano smoker. I love Italian dark-fired, and I do get this this is giving me the same nearly wine-like notes. So you have like a very, very faint fruitiness that's evident through the retrohale. There's a little bit of spice and there's a little bit of fruitiness, almost like some dark red fruits. But it's not really amplifying the sweetness of the Virginias. It's got a little bit of a dry finish, and I think that's where I get that nearly wine-like quality. This is a refined Virginia with plenty of body, like a really, really lush presence on the palate. Dense smoke. And honestly, it burns with a really nice spontaneity, which I appreciate. I like to smoke on the slow side. I like to back off almost to the point where the pipe is going out. And this lets you kind of bounce right back. Like I'm yapping right now, not seeing a lot of smoke. You get it going again and it's right back to where it was. I really love this type of tobacco. High quality Virginia grades, a little bit of something condimental that is not gonna sort of muddy the waters too much. It's actually complementary. So you get some added complexity, a little bit of intrigue. As this progresses, I do get a lot more depth. Those like sort of tangy and malty sourdough kind of notes turn into something more like sourdough toast. It's rich, it's kind of buttery. And again, with just a hint of some floral, some earthy qualities, and a little bit of what I associate with like a nice dry red wine. Today I'm smoking GLP Silver Jubilee in one of my favorite Virginia pipes. It's a little billiard by Former. And this is just the perfect size chamber dimensions for this blend in my experience, but I do think that this is going to be favorable to a lot of different bowl sizes. If you've been a fan of Greg's work for 25 years, or even 1 year, or even recently, I would say that this is along the lines of your Embarcadero, which is a blend that I kind of grew up on a little bit. Love it. Again, found it very comforting. It's a great mixture. Obviously, there's an Oriental component there, and this has an Italian dark-fired component, but emotionally pretty similar. And I think that also, too, some of his more sort of robust blends like Cumberland, this is going to be a little more refined and a little bit more medium. But if you were a fan of those type of mixtures that he's done that interplay on Virginias and other grades of things like Oriental and dark-fired leaf, this one's going to be right up your alley. Also, similarly, kind of a weird one to throw out there, this does also emotionally remind me of some of the best-known natural flakes from Kendall, the Kendall region, Full Virginia Flake, Sam's Flake maybe especially, which are both stoved to a pretty high degree, and this one is not. But like I said, they sort of occupy that same place of richness and fullness while being like medium in strength and having quite a lot of body. Now, if you're a Virginia smoker, you may not always get a Virginia with a lot of body to it, and that's definitely what I prefer. I prefer something that almost feels like you're chewing on it, and Silver Jubilee definitely has that characteristic in my experience. Again, on paper, I feel like this one was made for me. I love that Greg chose sort of a Virginia flake as his love letter to tobacco in general and a celebration of his 25th. And it does not disappoint. Of course, that's no surprise. Like I mentioned earlier, Greg has provided all of us pipe smokers with 25 years of some of the most memorable smoking experiences we've had, and Silver Jubilee is not one to be missed. Congratulations, Greg. Thanks again for 25 years.